All right, here I am with another video. This is my 4-color lands deck, and this is my point spread. I put 3 into Mox Emerald, 3 into Mox Pearl, 1 into Crop Rotation, and 3, of course, into Strip Mine. Really, it's the linchpin of the deck. What we're trying to achieve here is blowing up everybody's lands, well, the opponent's lands, and forcing them into a chokehold. I think, based on my list, the easiest point to change would be Crop Rotation. You could change this maybe for Intuition in blue, because it does similar things that we're trying to do. It will find you. It really depends on the game, where if you're able to Intuition instead of Crop Rotation for something like a Life from the Loam, Strip Mine, Wasteland, something like that. But I like this point spread. I like the ability to put a land into play at instant speed, which can help you trigger something like Omnath. So yeah, I'm going to do a little different approach here as well. Aside from the points, I'm going to do all the cards based on color. That's how I've kind of organized them, based on color, which is not something I typically do, but I've done it because I want to show how much of each color we're playing, I think, because it's a lot of green cards, really. So here's my other artifacts. 2 more, Mana Ramp, a Zuran Orb for some combos, Winter Orb, really helps us tie the opponent down, and Crucible of Worlds. Another version we'll see, the Conduit of Worlds, does make an appearance. That's really what we're trying to achieve here. So I think I'm going to start with the multicolored cards we have. We have Deathrite Shaman, it's Mana Elf in a lot of scenarios, some Graveyard Hate as well. Kazali Pride Mage, I have a couple of this effect, actually, the Destroy Artifact or Enchantment. I think that's really good in the meta right now, so that's what I've chosen to play Quasali Pride Mage as well. Renin 6, of course, for a lands deck. This is going to be almost an essential. We can return our Strip Mine. Night of Autumn, again, it's another Kazali Pride Mage type effect. Also can gain us some life. Night of the Reliquary. Sacrifice a forest or plains. Search for a basic land card. Put it onto the battlefield. We play Yavimaya to turn all our lands into forest, so we can sacrifice anything we want. Oko, great Planeswalker. Renegade Rallier. Works great with fetch lands to either ramp you or your Strip Mine to strip them twice. Uro, of course, great in a lands deck. It gains you life, it draws you cards. Minsk and Boo, Timeless Heroes. I'm sure you've seen a lot of this in the past couple months. It fits right here because we're making creatures every turn if they keep killing it. It's just a really fast clock once we've closed the game, or cut our opponent off to be able to do anything. Omnath as well works perfect in this deck, where we're hitting landfall for something like our fast bond or exploration turns, playing lands from graveyards, casting this with the Conduit of Worlds. So those are our multicolored cards. Now in here, there's only 2 red cards. There's 2 blue cards, 3 blue cards, and more white. So really, we're Selesnya based deck. We have the 3 blue cards that you just saw, the 2 red cards, and then 1 additional red card here. Gamble. A lot of the time, you're going to be, the easiest gamble is to gamble for Life from the Loam, because you don't care if it goes in your graveyard. You'll just get it next turn. But it is a unconditional tutor with a little downside. But with all of our graveyard type shenanigans we're playing, I think this is the perfect card for this deck. So that being said, your red and blue cards we've discussed. Everything else is green or white. And if for whatever reason you didn't want to play those cards, you can play some black cards. And that's kind of how I wanted to split this up. Maybe if you're playing black cards, you want to play something like a Tainted Pact or something. But yeah, so now we'll just go over the white cards, and I've put these in mana value order. So there's Prismatic Ending, just great removal. We're 4 colors as well. Swords to Plowshares, removal. Fateful Absence, removal. One reason I like this as well is it is a target creature or planeswalker, and then they investigate. Now, with Strip Mine and Wasteland and Winter Orb, that's kind of our goal is like, okay, well, you aren't able to, if you really want to draw that card, you're spending 2 mana, and that's taking a turn off a lot of the time. Archon of Emeria, again, non-basic lands your opponents control enter tapped. Aven Mind Sensor stops them from searching. Thalia, non-basic lands enter tapped. White Plume Adventurer, here's our initiative, I guess, part of the deck. There is several of them in here. Nice thing here is you untap a creature you control at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep. So that can keep your mana dorks, pumping out mana. Seasoned Engineer, another initiative card, gives you some exploration here with the when you attack with warriors or party members. And then Solitude, just another good removal spell. Sword of Force to Plowshares. Force of Swords to Plowshares. Now, here's our green cards. This is, again, the majority. And something like Arbor Elf is really good in this deck because we're playing Winter Orb. So not only does this untap every turn, but it can help you untap 2 lands every turn, or every cycle, basically. So we obviously are going to play a lot of mana dorks in here. You don't have to play Elves of Deep Shadow. You could play something like Boreal Druid, which is a snow. It adds a snow mana. It's just a colorless instead of black, but I've put this in here just because I think there's some niche applications. Elvish Mystic, Reclaimer, Tutor for lands. You have some of your extra land drop cards, Exploration and Fast Bond. More mana dorks. Utopia Sprawl and Wild Growth are really good. They can't get killed as easily as something like the Arbor Elf. And when you're only able to untap 1 land a turn, this can turn that 1 land into 2 mana. So pretty useful here. Scrap Gorger. So this is the new card, one that I talked about in my previous video about the top 8 cards I'm excited to build with. And here, I'll just read it to go over it, but plus 2/0 if it has 3 or more oil counters, tap, add a mana of any color, and when it becomes tapped, exile target card from a graveyard and put an oil counter on it. So it's just some somewhat inevitability. It's a mana dork. It can grow to a 3/3, and it's some graveyard hate as well. Cankabloom, another new card. One of the Quasali Pride Mage effects, just to destroy stuff. I don't think you're going to proliferate ever unless you want to do it on some of your planeswalkers. But I'm excited to play with this card too. I think this one is good. I think this one is a lot better chance of staying relevant than the Armored Scrap Gorger, but I do want to try the Scrap Gorger. Life from the Loam, Outland Liberator, another one of those effects. So I have a lot of them in this deck, like I said. Some Hexproof, Mana Dorks, Land Tutor. Again, just a cheap roadblock to stop aggro decks or eventually turn the corner and start attacking. Corsair Crufix, Dryad Illusion. Some Graveyard Hate at flash speed with reach. Pretty nice. Oh yeah, here's a card that I don't think has seen too much play. But Inaris Gloomstalker is a 3/3 Death Touch. When it attacks, you return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Now, obviously, this dies to bolt and everything like that, but that if it goes untouched, you're going to be ramping or putting Strip Mine into play and keeping them down. So I think Inaris is really good. If you haven't seen this in play in your local meta, I'd like to know. Jewel Thief, this one I'm also pretty sure has not seen that much play except in maybe like a green-red monsters type deck. I really like this guy. It makes a treasure token when it enters, and it's just a pretty good body, so it can help you ramp to some of your 5-drops. Lovestruck Beast, similar mid-range threat. Ramanek Excavator, lands from graveyard, some landfall creatures. Here's the Conduit of Worlds. The deck, or one of the reasons really I built this deck again, is to use this. Now, I'm not really abusing the second part, as I discussed in my previous video. I think it's just a really good value card. So we have enough creatures that, if it dies, okay, I've destroyed an enchantment with it, I'll just cast it again from my graveyard. That'll be my play for the turn. Things like that are the reasons why I really like this card, in addition to being a second Crucible of Worlds. Here's our last initiative creature. He has mana, and he's vigilant, so that's pretty nice. Some land tutor, or to make a big token, Springleaf Avenger. This is similar to an Eris, but it has to deal combat damage to a player. It doesn't just have to attack, but it is a much bigger body. You can ninjutsu it in. And then Titania, our last card in the deck. This card is obviously one of your big endgame pieces where you can return something like a fetch land or a strip mine, immediately get a 5/3 off it, and some benefits. So, yeah, so that's the deck. I really like this deck. I think if you wanted to play a different color like black, certainly could. You get access to a lot of tutors and other good land cards. Something like, well, Gitrog I played in the past, of course. But yeah, I think that's really all I want to say for this one. I think it's a cool deck. It has a lot of versatility in how you build it, and I think you'll enjoy it. So, thanks again. Thanks a lot for watching, guys.